They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So what does this one tell you? Two guys just palling around. A fun day out on the water. Looks like they like to travel together a lot. Here they are in front of a private plane, looking like tourists. If you've ever been through the nightmare of an expensive divorce in Harris County, you may recognize these guys.
Don't you have enough film already? Need more?
By now, you all know Bobby Newman, the king of Houston divorce lawyers. The other guy you're fixing to know a lot about too, another high-priced Houston divorce lawyer named Rick Ramos. Now imagine you had chosen Rick Ramos to battle Bobby Newman in a desperate life and death struggle for the custody of your only child. That's exactly what Marcely Guimaraes did.
I trust the lawyer. I had to trust someone. I could never imagine that my own lawyer would do something like that to me.
You've never heard Marcely's side of this story publicly until now, and it should change your mind about the real victims in the international child kidnapping drama unfolding here in Houston.
Carlos and Jemima Guimaraes were found guilty.
Marcely's parents have been convicted in Houston federal court and are facing possible prison time this October for their role in the kidnapping of little Nico Brand. And that's why Marcely Guimaraes says she cannot stay silent any longer.
They are not guilty for anything. I'm the one that made the decision to stay in Brazil. I'm the one that decided to come here. I'm the one that decided to save my life's son, in my life and my son's life.
There are times I feel like a failure because I wasn't able to protect my boy.
Nico's father is Dr. Chris Brand, and he's become quite the sympathetic figure, part of the international political fight surrounding this case. As a Texan, it's easy to argue that Nico was born in Texas and belongs here with his dad, not in some faraway country like Brazil.
Thank you, Dr. Brand, for your courage and for telling your story.
But I bet Ted Cruz would grimace if he knew the rest of the story. Marcely Guimaraes and Houston Dr. Chris Brand got married in 2008. The violence, it soon began, even while Marcely says she was pregnant with little Nico.
I mean, how come a person can do that to a pregnant woman in the first place? One time he pushed me down the stairs and I fell through the stairs in the house, and I was really hurt for a while, and that was really shocking.
This medical report from the Midtown Family Clinic in February 2012 details new injuries from another graphically violent episode, quoting, numbness and pain in her jaw and ears, bruises on her cheek.
The violence was just increasing with time. They hurt. He punched me on the face several times too.
Marcely says Dr. Brand even forced Nico to watch the violence.
Nico would scream and ask and say no, no, and ask to stop. And he would not stop at all because he could not control his violence.
Look at this email from April of the same year from the doctor, quoting, it might be best if you just go back to Brazil. We even have Dr. Brand's sworn confession of his violence, admitting he pushed Marcely onto the floor, hit her in the face and head, pulled her hair all in front of a very young Nico. Look at this email from Dr. Brand back in September 2011, quoting, Nico's face this morning is seared into my memory. I have never seen such sadness and fear. Marcely filed for divorce in September of 2012. Divorce and custody cases get assigned randomly in Harris County, and Marcely's plea for protection, for justice, for her and her son, it ended up in Judge James Lombardino's court. And by now, you know what that means. Let's be frank, this court is stained with conflicts of interest and allegations of corruption. You can now add Marcely to the list of victims.
I think that he never thought about anything else besides him and his relationship. I think that he never wanted to do justice
Early on, Judge Lombardino did issue a critical order in the Gamaris Brand divorce, protecting her and Nico. It was the day after Houston police had been called to Marcelli's house after she complained the doctor had tried to break in.
He was there at the garage, at the door, kicking the door, and trying to get the door down in order to get inside of the house and just hurt me again. And I don't know what he would do to Nico at that point.
But the legal motion to protect Marcelli and Nico included more than just a legion of domestic violence episodes. It included parts of a graphic personal journal from the doctor, detailing sexual fantasies very difficult to share. Sadly, this public document is part of the public record. Quoting, "I'm going to stay late, lock the door to my office, log in on the Baylor website, pull my pants down around my ankles, and then go to the website." The rest of this journal entry is just too explicit to share. The court would issue an order keeping Dr. Brand away from Nico, no further contact until the court said so. And Brand had to stay 200 feet away from Marcelli's house. Funny how that wasn't mentioned in Brand's testimony to Congress.
Of people coming together is the first step.
So what changed? Just 4 days after that court order, Dr. Brand got him a new lawyer. He hired Bobby Newman.
Once Bobby Newman was hired, everything changed. There was nothing that I could do that would convince the judge to accept, even to look at everything that I had to give to him. And things was just became more and more difficult for me.
Marcelli didn't know that Bobby Newman's family and law firm had helped finance Judge Lombardino's political campaign in such a big way. A campaign fundraiser on a family-owned yacht called the Queen Anne, $16,500 worth of financial support by the time Brand hired Bobby Newman.
There's a smell of potential corruption in that court. People saw me in court on the case and approached me and said, "Hey, I heard you got a case in there. You know you're screwed."
Newman was hired right before Christmas 2012. On January 18th, Judge Lombardino issued a new order, joint custody of Nico. No more protections from the guy who was just dangerous days before.
He's a monster. He's a monster.
You better answer the goddamn phone, Marcelli. I swear to God, I'm going to destroy you if you don't answer the goddamn phone.
Even Dr. Brand admitted the new shared custody deal was being worked out between Newman and Ramos over a phone call on the way to the courthouse. Maybe that's what buddies do. Within months, Marcelli Gamaris went to Brazil with Nico and never came back. There was another custody fight in Brazil. She won. Dr. Brand can visit Nico. One problem, the doctor claims he owes $50,000 in back child support and says he can't afford to pay it.
It was about life-saving, really, situation, because there was no protection anymore. There was no justice anymore. There was no even me anymore. It was like everything was already done with no explanation.
The abuse of Dr. Brand went on his public campaign to get Nico back. This email documents the strategy, quoting, "I also have very strong connections in the media," he wrote her. "Don't forget my family has owned a newspaper for over 50 years. A Texas judge is required by the Code of Judicial Conduct to stay neutral. But Dr. Brand says Judge Lombardino played politics for him instead. Quoting, "The judge of the local district court, which is presiding over our case, has also contacted congressmen in Texas and New York. Judge Lombardino, well, he refuses to talk with us." There's one other player in this cast of characters in this family injustice drama. Jared Woodfill. He just threw Judge Lombardino a big fancy campaign fundraiser. But in 2012, he was still chairman of the Harris County Republican Party, cashing in on court deals. Lombardino chose Woodfill to represent the best interest of little Nico. But did he? In March, Marcelli pleaded with her lawyer, quote, "I am very, very concerned on people understanding how dangerous Chris is." In May, she emailed Woodfill, quoting, "I am afraid of him." Just weeks later, she fled. She now blames Woodfill for failing to protect her little boy.
I think he's a really bad person. I think that he had no desire of helping in the first place. I think that he never thought about Nico. He never thought about the child.
We know that Jared Woodfill knew an awful lot about Dr. Brand's violent and bizarre behavior, let's call it. He won't talk to us either, but it sure sounds like he was on Dr. Brand's team anyway. This email documents the politics of the case. Mr. Woodfill is already connected with Senator Cornyn, several congressmen. Jared is the president of the Republican Party in Harris County.
Of course he betrayed Nico. How come he did not betray Nico if he put Nico in a situation that was very dangerous? I mean, he should be protecting Nico. He should be protecting my son from that monster. He did not try to protect Nico at all.
These days, Marcely Guimarães loves to play in the park with Nico back in Brazil. But if she comes back to the United States, she'll be arrested, like her parents were, charged with kidnapping. But is she really a criminal or just a mom protecting her child? She was 35 when she fled. She says her parents are innocent.
They have never done anything wrong in their life, just the correct things and the right decisions. I cannot understand why they are in this position right now.
Marcely is not allowed to talk with her parents for months now. They're under house arrest until their sentencing in October. But she did send a message to them through us.
And I wish I could tell them that they don't deserve that and that I'm really sorry and that I love them. Nico loves them a lot and he missed them. He asks about them. Every single day he asks about them and that he cannot understand what's going on.
Look, folks, it's time to clean up this courthouse. These conflicts of interest must be disclosed. It's kind of the right thing to do. And we've offered Dr. Brand a full, unedited interview that we'll share on social media. So far, he hasn't accepted. And there is a lot more we need to tell you because you have a right to know.